Hey everybody, welcome back to the Porter Says podcast with your host and only host Heath. Welcome to the 9th episode of this of the podcast. Close to 10. You know, the next one will be episode 10, and even though that's not like a big deal or anything, it's still pretty exciting. For me at least. Because it's like, 10 episodes, and then the next big one would probably be 15 or 20 and all that stuff. And I plan to keep getting these out to you. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about the movies I have watched and rewatched so far in this month of January. I'm going to talk about my most anticipated films for 2025 and whatever else pops into my head. I would like to say that the very first Patreon episode is up, so I'll put the link to that into the in the description, so you can check that out. I really consider you checking it out. It was a lot of fun. So I hope you do check that out. So I will start with obviously the movies that I've been watching. Not a whole lot because it's only the start of the month, so it's only like not too many really. Microphone's being annoying. So the first movie I watched to start off the year, and it was a rewatch, was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man on the big screen. Yep, my local theater is playing every live-action Spider-Man movie. So of course I had no choice to go and see this movie on the big screen. And if you want more thoughts on or more of my thoughts on the original Spider-Man film and the trilogy in general, that is probably going to be a future Patreon episode. So stay tuned for that. But I will say it's a fantastic film. So and then I rewatched, might as well include both of these. Both ride-along movies with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. Because I actually just watched the second one last night. And I watched the first one at the beginning of the month, literally the same day after I got home from seeing Spider-Man. They're not the best movies like in the world or anything, but they're fun. You know, Kevin Hart doing his typical Kevin Hart thing, and Ice Cube being the straight man, as I think that's the term that we say in when it comes to comedy movies with two leads. They're stupid, but they're fun. I enjoyed rewatching them. So, and then I watched Warm Bodies from 2013 for the very first time. That has Nicholas Hoult and Teresa Palmer. Had never seen it in my life, and I'd had no interest in it. But I was just like, you know what? I'll put it on. There was nothing else on Netflix, so I just put it on, and yeah. It was solid. It was a fun time. I'm pretty sure it was based on a book, so if it wasn't, it sounds like it might have been. I don't know, really. It just has it's a very typical kind of young adult story, really. So I wouldn't be shocked if it was based on a book at all. It was pretty good. It's a zombie movie, but you don't really, it's not full on gory or anything. They tend to cut away from when the zombies start attacking people, so you don't see a whole lot, which is nice. You also got Dave Franco, Dave Franco in this one, and John Malkovich, which was pretty cool to see, because I mean I haven't seen too many things of John Malkovich, but from what I have seen, he is a good actor, so. And if you're going to have someone playing not a military man, but close enough to that, then you might as well get John Malkovich, apparently. So, Bad Boys Ride or Die was the next one that I watched. I am a big fan of the Bad Boys films. I pretty much enjoy every single one of them. So, and they know what they are. Those are movies that know exactly what they are. They're not trying to be anything else. So, you know, I think the first two were first two are Michael Bay movies, and then I don't remember who did 3 and this last one 4. Actually, sorry about that. Bloody motorcycles in the frickin' background. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, I love Will Smith in this movie. I love Martin Lawrence even more. I'm a big Martin Lawrence fan. He is so funny in these movies. Yeah, and I hope they make another one. I don't know if they will, but they should, because just keep putting them out, because they're fun little action movies to go and see at the theater and just to like watch at home in general. So, what else? I rewatched Paddington, and the first one, because Paddington 3 recently came out here in Australia, so I do want to see that at some point. Paddington's great. It to me, it's like the British version of Stuart Little, and it's one of the most charming movies ever. I just love British things in general. Like that's my thing. You know, I tend to like lean towards a lot of British like film and TV, comedy, all that. You know, it's yeah, it's a great family film. I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. Like it is obviously meant for kids, but adults get enjoyment out of it. So, and then obviously, just last week on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I saw Spider-Man 2. Seeing that movie in theaters was even better, you know, and seeing it with like I have not a full-on packed audience, but there was a good amount of people in there. It's always fun. And I will be seeing Spider-Man 3 this week, because I never got to see the first 3 in theaters when they originally came out. So I obviously am taking that opportunity to see them, or to see this one. And that, I hope to God that's fun. And then I rewatched Vacation from 2015. I think Saturday. Sorry, I watched it on the Saturday. And this was my second viewing of this movie, because I'd watched it about 3 years prior, and I wasn't big on it. I didn't find it to be the most hilarious thing ever. I know it's like a movie that's not received, or wasn't received very well anyway, but there are a lot of people who do like it, I think. I gave it a low score when I first watched it, but it was one of those movies that, even though it was bad when I first watched it, I still had an enjoyable time. It was like a kind of enjoyable bad watch. But on this rewatch, it was much better, and it was a bit funnier than I remembered. I've only seen, because it's like meant to be a reboot or something of the Vacation series. I don't know how wildly connected it is to it. I've only seen this one, and then I saw National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like it was okay, but I don't get why people consider it to be like a Christmas classic or anything. So, and then yeah, so those are the movies I have watched recently, over the past week or two. And then let's get into my most anticipated movies of 2025. I have 10 of them in here. Now, the first few are movies that I'm like, I'm not like super excited for. There's only really a few of them here that I'm like super really like anticipating. So how am I going for time? Oh wow, hopefully this isn't like super short or anything. Wow, I'm gonna have to try and spend as much time as I can on these movies. Wow. Okay. So the first one I have here from 10 is, it's been retitled to a Minecraft movie with Jack Black. What's his name? Jack Black and Jason Momoa, because those are the only two names that I remembered of the cast who was in this. I've seen the trailer, or the two trailers, like a couple of times, and I don't know. I just feel like this movie is like 15 or however many years since it's been since Minecraft was released. It's just years late. You didn't need a live action movie. If you were going to make a Minecraft movie, I really wish they made it animated, and I really wish it was like DreamWorks or something. Illumination maybe could have done it as well. But I'll see it to see if it turns out to be good or bad. It's probably gonna end up being bad, but I love Jack Black, and so I'll see anything. And then number 9, I have They Follow, which is the sequel to It Follows. There's not a whole lot information on this one, so I can't say that I'm like super excited for it as well, but I loved It Follows. That's one of my favorite horror movies ever. So I'm more intrigued, really. So, but yeah, I don't really know anything about it. So then I have Snow White, the live action remake, which I saw that trailer. I think the first time I saw the trailer maybe it was in the theater. I can't remember if I watched it online or in the theater. I'm not sure. It looks okay. I just feel like I don't mind some of the Disney live action remakes, but I obviously, like most people, it's so pointless remaking these things. Like, but I do. There is a part of me, and I think I've heard. I don't know who said this really, but part of me is thinking like, okay, maybe there's like this new generation of kids who has no idea there's an animated version of these movies before and goes to see the live action first, and that will become maybe their definitive, movie of Disney. Like that will become their preferred version. Maybe they'll go back and watch the animated one and go, oh no, I prefer the live action, blah blah blah. So I can see why Disney is doing this, for maybe a new generation of kids, but overall it was pointless from the beginning. Even though, yeah, I don't mind some of the live action Disney remakes, but I mean, just go watch the animated ones, really. Yeah, just go and do that. Next one up is Captain America: A Brave New World, which I'll admit the first trailer didn't really do much for me, but the second trailer I've seen that trailer twice now because it was playing in the theater when I saw both Spider-Man 1 and 2. And it did a lot more for me. I'm definitely more excited than I was. I think, Brave New World, it looks like it's going to be more like Winter Soldier. It probably won't be as good as Winter Soldier, nowhere near. I don't think anything can top Captain America, the Winter Soldier, but this is about as close as I think they could get. And it's Marvel. I'm a Marvel dude, even though Marvel's kind of fallen off a little bit with, minus a few exceptions of the MCU. But, I will see it. I want Marvel to do well. So, and then the next one I have is Ballerina, which is from the world of John Wick. Ballerina, which is like, I think it's more of a spin-off, obviously, if it says from the world of John Wick, it's a spin-off of the John Wick series, which I really like those movies, so I'm pretty keen to see what this can do. And it stars Ana de Armas. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but I think she is one of the most attractive women on the planet. She's a great actress. So, okay, now we're getting to the films that I'm like, these ones I'm like beyond excited for. So you have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I really like the Mission Impossible series. The only one I don't enjoy that much is 2. I think Mission Impossible 2 is a pretty bad movie. But other than that, I think the first one is really good. I think 3 was pretty good. 4 was great. 5 was great. 6 was great. 7, yeah. Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think it's called. Or maybe they've changed it again since this is called The Final Reckoning. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see if this truly is the end of the franchise. I can't wait to see this in a theater. So next up is Superman Legacy, or I think it's just been retitled to Superman, directed by James Gunn. The trailer for this movie was so good. I think it's one of the. It's about as close as you can get to being like a perfect teaser trailer. You know, it doesn't spoil too much. It gives you pretty much the highlights. It gives you like a good idea of what the movie's going to be. Yeah, you know, just yeah, can't wait. I think it's it's a DC movie. I have a DC movie higher than a Marvel film, and I'm more excited for this new Superman movie than I am for Thunderbolt, which isn't even in this list. It would probably be still like in there if I had more anticipated movies. It would probably be in there, but I only have 10 at the moment, obviously. So, but yeah. I think DC has a pretty bright future ahead of them if this movie does well. And it's going to. I think it is. Next up, I have the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. Obviously, in one of my previous episodes, I did talk about it. But the more I've thought about this film, the more excited I get. I think it's DreamWorks, you know. I think this is the first live-action DreamWorks movie. I think this movie is like the first live-action remake of animated DreamWorks film. Obviously, it won't be as good as the previous 3, or specifically, like it won't be as good as the original. But I cannot wait to see this movie in a theater. I think it's going to be great. I really think it's going to be good. So. And then at number 2, I have the biopic Michael. So this is obviously the biopic of Michael Jackson. I'm a massive Michael Jackson fan. If you didn't already know that, literally I think in episode 7, I did the bracket of the what I thought was the best Michael Jackson song. So if that wasn't an indication, you know, how excited I am for this movie and how big a fan I am, then I don't know what to tell you. There's so much story to tell, and I think this movie, it has to be at least close to 3 hours, because I feel like you can't. Yeah, it has to. Does it have a running time? No, it doesn't. Okay, if it's not at least 3 hours long or close to it, then the movie is just gonna feel rushed. So, and of course, at number 1, after seeing the trailer and watching it a bunch of times now, is Karate Kid Legends, with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio coming together. Oh my god. I can't wait. I don't know if I've talked about this or not. If I've talked about Karate Kid Legends, I probably have. I don't care. I'm incredibly excited for this movie. I adored the trailer. It's so cool that the Karate Kid from 2010 with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan is now pretty much like, it's a part of this universe. It's canon to the Karate Kid series. Like, it's just like a different story, you know? It's so cool. Like, who would have thought, like, had that Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan would come together to play their characters again? Who would have thought? It looks so fun. I think it's so cool to see like a mix of martial arts. I think the main characters looks interesting. It's so cool. I can't wait to see how everything connects, you know, and how, obviously with the end of Cobra Kai coming soon, I'm interested to see how that's gonna, lead into this new movie, and if anybody from Cobra Kai is going to get a mention from Daniel, if he's going to mention Johnny or his daughter or anything like that, or if any of them going to make an appearance. Is Jaden Smith going to show up? You never do know. Yeah, Karate Kid's like one of my favorite franchises ever. So, yeah, that's easily my most anticipated movie of 2025, and it's not until May, so it's a fair amount away. But I can't wait. I really can't. And that wraps it up for the 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. In terms of like maybe TV shows or music, let's see. TV shows, I'm doing my annual rewatch of of Two Broke Girls, which I have talked about. So if you want to go back to my 4th episode of the podcast to hear my thoughts, go watch that. Yeah, it's a really funny show. So always gotta, I think this is my 3rd rewatch of the show. So that doesn't tell you anything. I don't know what will. And then I'm keeping up with, Dad and I have been watching this show for the past, I don't know how many months. It's called The Goldbergs. Which is like a show set in the 80s. We're on season 6 currently, and there's 10 seasons, so we're getting there. Yeah, that's TV. That's it for TV shows. I don't think there's anything else I've been watching in terms of TV shows. Music, not a whole lot. I'm trying to listen to like music I haven't heard before. I'm going through Spotify and trying to find like playlist with songs I haven't heard, and there's a lot of good ones that I've been listening to, so I'm trying to branch out a little bit more than I have, because usually I just listen to the same old stuff like Michael Jackson, Ed Sheeran, the Beatles, Sabrina Carpenter, all that stuff like that, all that type of music, and that's just what appeals to me more than anything. Maybe in a future episode or even a Patreon episode, once I run out of like franchises to talk about, maybe there'll be a whole episode of that dedicated to just music and me talking about different music videos. So you never do know. I know I've brought it up a bunch of times in this episode already, but with the Patreon, I think my plan is to... So this week will be this main podcast episode for Spotify and YouTube, but I'm going to get this up about a day or two early up onto my Patreon, because if you go onto there you will get early access to this main episode, and then next week I'll film an actual exclusive Patreon episode. So I think I've decided like maybe this week will be a main one, next week will be a Patreon, and so on and so forth. If I can keep that up, that'd be great, because I think that's a good way to keep everybody interested in this podcast, which it's doing pretty well. It's doing a lot better than I expected it to. I'm really appreciating the little support that I'm getting. Well, not little, but I'm really appreciating everybody who's like very supportive of this idea and wants to keep seeing more. And if you have any questions you want to ask me, I kind of would like to start doing Q&As as a segment, maybe, because I know a lot of podcasts do that. Even though I don't have a big enough following, it would still be pretty cool. And to the people who mainly do watch this, I recommend like subscribing to the YouTube channel and watching this on Spotify and all that, and sharing it with all your friends and family. Like I can use all the support and help that I can get, because this is something, and I've said it in a lot of other ones, I have really liked doing this podcast. It I was talking to a family member of mine, and one of them said like, "Oh, how's your podcast going?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's going pretty well." And my other my uncle was like, "I didn't know you could talk that much. Like, I didn't, blah blah blah." And then even my dad, when he watched the first episode, was like, "I didn't know you could talk that well. Like, you sound like very sophisticated." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." Like, oh, that was loud. But yeah. So just yeah. Anything you want to ask, or any suggestions, ideas, whatever, and yeah. So that is going to wrap up the 9th episode of the Porter Says podcast with your host and only host, Heath. Porter, even though he wasn't in this, I will actually turn this camera around right now and show you, because he is currently on his couch. If I can, can I? No, I can't. Sorry, guys. I thought I was gonna be. Oh, sorry about that, guys. The camera decided to stuff up. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. So stay tuned for the next episode, episode 10. I'll try and come up with something big to do. So, considering the fact that it's going to be the 10th episode, that the next, well, not this week, but the week after, I think I'm going to, unless I decide to, pre-record the 10th episode. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.